I can.
All right, so we have a quorum. Let's get started. We do have a quorum, and so I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome all of you who are here. My name is Chris Abeta. For those of you that I don't know, I'm the board chair, and I don't know if you want any introductions of the rest of the board. But want to welcome you here and thank you for being here. It's always, I'm always hope that we get more and more local people and more people that are from the community, and also more students. So anyway, we'd like to adopt. Are there any changes in the agenda? Because I think last time we had some changes that we wanted to make in the agenda. Is there any changes, or do we want to approve the agenda?
I move approval.
Second.
Those in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so we're going to move into the action items. First of all, the board member selection process. And we've got a draft that we have that those of you who've gotten a copy of that, and so we're basically going to look at that. Are there any changes? Or are there any input as to what we're going to do for board member selection process? Martha or Linda? Or
You want me to step through real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, go
Let me just step through real quick. So what we're proposing is that you basically approve this process today, that we go out and we seek letters of interest, applicants for people who would like to replace fill the position of Andrea Bermudez vacated. We would have people submit their letters of interest with some information, including what reasons why they want to serve, a description of any prior board experience, how they think they could contribute to the Santa Fe Community College Board, and a summary of their educational background and other qualifications. Submit that to the board by the end of January, close of business of January 31st. And then the board would go through, review all the applications, probably pick a top 3 to have interviews with, and then actually select one of those people at the February board meeting to serve until the next election, which is in March of 2015.
Well, I have 2 points.
Okay.
We say we would select 2 or 3 finalists.
Right.
So I guess that would
Right.
depend on what the board wanted to do. The other question I had is, would the new person selected be sworn in at that meeting or the following meeting? So do we have a full board at the February board meeting or at the March board meeting?
They could be sworn in. My thought, Mr. Chair and Member Romero, is that they could be sworn in at the February meeting.
At the February
It looked
meeting.
like in the past when that happened before, a resolution was passed and the swearing in took place immediately thereafter.
Okay, I think that's an appropriate thing to do.
And the date,
Kathy, can I ask a little bit about history? So what have we done formerly when situations like this have come up? Is this kind of the same process that the board has traditionally followed?
We did use basically this process the time before the last. When we had only less than a year, I think, left on a term, then the board just appointed the foundation president to serve on the board because we thought that would be a good interim way to handle it. When we had a greater amount of time, we did the interview process, the application, not the application, but the letter of interest, and then
Which is what we have to do now.
which is what we're proposing that we would
Yeah,
do now.
we got to do that.
Well,
because-
and that's part of the policy. That's the way the policy reads, that
Right.
if it's a very short period of time, the board just appoints, but if there's a longer period of time, then
You
then
should
Yeah,
take
but
process.
Dr. Bermudez would have been on for another couple of years, I think.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
so Mr. Chair, members of the board, if you appoint somebody in February, they will serve until March of 2015, at which time they will run for the balance of Board Member Bermudez's term, which would be for 2 years. So they would run for the remaining 2 years, and then they would be up for the 6-year term 2 years after
So
that.
they would basically run twice in 2 years.
Correct, which is what happened last
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Okay, any other input?
I move approval of the process.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of approving the board member selection process? All those in favor?
Aye.
Kat- Kathy? Aye. Aye. Okay, anyone against? All right, the motion passes, and so we'll be, now, is this going to go out,
Janet has
advertise
some
and all?
kind of.
Yeah, so you got it. That's what-
Yes, in fact, I have an advertisement ready to go.
That's what.
Great, thank
And
you.
we're also going to send an email notification to our partners in the community who participated in the strategic plan this past year. So,
Be sure it goes to the foundation board members as well.
Okay, would it be appropriate to have you guys take a look at it?
You want to speak louder so Kathy can hear?
Okay, Kathy, I
They have
have
seen the ad.
proposed, Randy says you have all seen the proposed advertisement, and that we'll get it out across our networks and to the foundation members as well.
And in the papers?
Mhm.
The Journal and the
Yes.
New Mexican?
Uh-huh. That would be the purpose of this advertisement.
Yeah, thanks.
Great. Okay,
And the deadline is January 31st?
First.
Is it, that's what we.
all right, so that motion is passed. Let's move on to the approval of alignment of the connector road. Who's, oh, there you are.
I'll kick it off, then I'll introduce
Okay.
Jennifer. You going to start?
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, cool.
As you know, the county is looking at doing more roads out here. The Southeast Connector Road, they have looked at several different options to be somewhere on the eastern side of our campus or through our campus. We did meet with them before. We made some recommended changes to the alignment, and they've agreed pretty close to what we thought we would recommend. But I'd like to introduce Jennifer Jenkins, and she can talk about what we have come up with and the latest proposal back from the county, that they would like some kind of concurrence from us.
Yes.
Right. Jennifer.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jennifer Jenkins. This is Colleen Gavin. We are with Jenkins Gavin Design and Development, and we've been working closely with the college throughout this process of the county basically is doing a location study for this new roadway.
Kathy, can you hear Jennifer?
Kathy?
Maybe she's walking in.
I hear her down the hall.
She's walking in.
Yes, I can hear her. Here she comes.
She was off. We can hear you, but you sounded so far away.
That's your seat, Kathy.
Right in front, right back.
You can move your stuff.
So, Santa Fe County, we do have a couple of representatives from Santa Fe County Public Works Department here with us today, Paul Kavanaugh and Chuck Vigil, who have been spearheading a location study to determine where this new road is going to go. And the new road is called the Southeast Connector. It's intended to relieve traffic on Richards Avenue. And this was kind of the initial map that the county released probably, 2 months ago, 3 months ago? 4 months ago, that looked at alternatives for the Southeast Connector, which is basically a north-south roadway that would run parallel to Richards Avenue here, again, to relieve traffic. So it would come off of Rabbit Road, and it would go down and eventually connect to a future extension of Avenida del Sur. And so because of the development and activity and population and institutional uses in the community college district, the county is very clear that additional roadway infrastructure is necessary to serve that growth. In addition to the Southeast Connector, there's proposed essentially a new frontage road along I-25 here that would connect over to Richards. And so the primary stakeholders in terms of landowners that we are dealing with is the Oshara project, this little strip of land here, which is owned by Rancho Viejo, that is just east of the College Heights subdivision, and then the community college. So this is the primary campus, and then there are two undeveloped parcels here on the east side. And so the community college's property goes all the way. Is that line on here, or is it off this?
No, but it goes about here.
It goes about there. So the county was looking at a variety of alternatives that addressed terrain and different criteria for what is optimal. And initially, this what we call the white alignment, the county said this was kind of their optimal choice. It accomplished a few things for them. Namely, this is, there's an arroyo here, and that comes this way. So keeping the road on the west side of the arroyo limits the number of arroyo crossings, so financially that was preferable, and also reduced the actual length and distance of Avenida del Sur that would have to be improved to connect to it. And the college had serious concerns about this alignment, which we expressed to the county, primarily that being this close to the campus here was undesirable, because as far as future facilities and where that might go, this is really kind of those optimal areas for future growth to occur on the campus.
Yeah, and furthermore, there's great opportunity in this vicinity with the terrain and the access from the interior loop road. So we didn't want to bisect that area and create undevelopable future parcels. So those were some of the concerns about just hugging too tightly. We've also been looking at the feasibility of actually connecting to the Rancho Viejo wastewater system and potentially abandoning these ponds here. So again, that's another developable area. There's just something that's been looked at, but just looking at the overall master plan and long-term development opportunity here on the campus.
So in working with the board and with college staff, we developed kind of what we saw as the college's preferred alternatives. And I know it may be a little hard to see, but that's the purple here.
And so what we provided the county were 3 options. Community college's first option was this alignment here, which comes into College Drive further east than what the county had proposed. And this does align with some future plans for this Rancho Viejo parcel here. So really the straight shot was, we understand the county's need for allowing this road to be straight for efficiency, for the cost effectiveness of building a brand new roadway. So this was really our number 1 option. Then we looked at actually providing a curve into the road here further east on Avenida del Sur. And then we did take into account the county's interest in having this on the west side of the arroyo. And so that was really our 3rd option that we presented to Santa Fe County.
And in dealing, as I said, we have, basically 3 primary stakeholders. Greer Enterprises, who owns the undeveloped land that's part of Oshara, this was their preferred alignment. They liked the white alignment. That really worked for them. But it became problematic down here because of some plans for this parcel here east of College Heights kind of went right through the middle, so that became a little problematic. So this location kind of respected the kind of development plans here while also providing nice developable areas on either side of the road for the college. And so there's been some back and forth, and Rancho Viejo has expressed a willingness to significantly modify their plans for this property. And there is a multifamily project plan for this, that it was kind of sitting in this area, and they have agreed to move it further west to accommodate a more straight alignment. And so out of that, this is hot off the presses from this morning. So this is the county's current preferred alignment, and you can see it basically mirrors what that original white alignment was. It was pushed a little bit further east, and so it comes here off of the extension of Rabbit Road, it comes straight south to Avenida del Sur. This is reflecting the development plan that's in progress for Rancho Viejo. And there's some potential shifting here for some buffers and required setbacks from the roadway. But this comes in, and just to outline it as far as the campus and your interest here, it is a bit further east than what was originally shown. What's nice about this alignment as it's being proposed right now is it allows access to this most southeastern section of your property, which I know in earlier conversations we talked about that's very long term, but having a roadway provided for you with utility connections and those type of improvements, I think would be a wonderful asset to the campus. It does align it's very similar. I'll just switch back to this original purple alignment. It's just shifted over a bit to the west here.
And so it's coming in, pardon me, I was a little bit too far east, right about here. This alignment works well with the terrain. There aren't any issues there. The other nice thing is that there's a further future expansion of Avenida del Sur to get this connection here, which we think is a great benefit just to the overall community college district for all of the residents and institutions out here.
Another really good benefit here is it doesn't hem you in here, which was I think our biggest concern as we were looking at that and then trying to
this alignment was really problematic. The terrain is quite challenging in here, and I think the county was realizing that. And also, we had concerns about having any type of infringement on your future expansion there. I know that the photovoltaic project is forthcoming, and then any type of other development adjacent to that. This really opens it up and provides the college a lot of options.
Quick question, where is the ropes course that going to this road?
It is right just on the east side of the road.
Just to the east. So it does honor that.
This new road would be just to the west of the road.
Just to the west. So basically,
So we're not bisecting the ropes course at this point.
we are not. And looking at the improvements here, we can't guarantee that you may not want to move some of the improvements to create a little more of a buffer, but it doesn't appear that the road is on top of any existing facilities out there.
So there is a somewhat of a trade-off to the area that's developable on 21 northeast to 21 southeast.
Mm-hmm.
That's the trade-off for us.
Yes. But
Well, actually, what it does is, the alignment that we had before was further east. So it still allowed for a branching off to either side for future development.
But it bisects the campus in that way.
But now what the alignment has shown is a little bit west. It tightens this area up a bit. We had a bit more developable area here. I'm going to pull up one more map. If you recall, we did the original map where we had the blue sections of the developable area, looking at your potential growth.
And one other, so this road again does provide access this way for sure. And eventually, we will see more College Drive constructed, and where that connects this direction is anybody's guess. But what it also does is, in terms of some point in the future, we looked at where would this loop road potentially connect going off to the east. And if the road is closer to you, you got to build less road to connect to it. So there is, economies of scale there.
Yeah, because we showed future connections to the southeast connector. We showed it coming through here, connecting to the fitness center parking lot, which makes sense, and having some type of a connection there. And then we also showed a connection in here, but there's already that dirt road going to this kind of maintenance area, having that connection there. Let me attach this so we can.
I have a question.
Yes.
If as soon as the road is built and we haven't added on any access roads or anything, a student is going to take that road and go on College Drive and then come into the college that way.
Mm-hmm.
There's not going to be any other things to get into the actual campus that's already in place. We'll have to develop those
That would be probably the college's
Yeah.
years or whatever.
to
Yes.
build
Yeah.
new
That would be done in the
connections.
So College Drive is where they're really looking at.
College Drive.
And is College Drive ready for the increased traffic?
Well, College Drive, the improved portion is a county-maintained road. And with the new project that is planned right here, they will be constructing the connection over to the southeast connector, and that'll be built adequately to county standards based upon the anticipated traffic impacts. So
Right.
it should be adequate. This should probably all be happening around the same time. We're running some parallel paths with this project as well as the county's process to do this. But
Yeah,
we're
we would-
looking at completion in 2016, potentially.
Okay, so that road will be done in 2016.
2016,
and-
2017.
And then by that time, the College Drive improvement should be done. And cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, should we look at, as a college board or as a college, should we look at the same thing happening by 2016 of further little roads at the fitness center and stuff like that?
Until you actually have some maybe new improvements out here, I don't think it's warranted. Because we're not talking about more cars, we're just talking about the same cars redistributed.
Right.
Because all the cars are using Richards now, and now that traffic will be distributed between the two roadways.
We hope.
So College Drive will be adequately improved to accommodate
Okay,
that.
great, thank you.
And to further answer your question, Chris, we may look to provide an exit from the campus to that corridor in the short term. So we have alternative exits to the campus, particularly through that corridor.
Okay.
And one question for you all too. What is the actual width of that easement?
The right of way is 120.
120 feet.
120 feet?
So this is the original map that we did prepared for you, showing the blue areas represent potential developable areas. The green is the photovoltaic project. So you can see here, based on the terrain, where it makes sense to put any future buildings. And obviously, anything coming off your internal loop road makes the most sense financially because you build the least amount of infrastructure, and that's where most of your costs are. So that allows for easy access here and here. You can see as far as Cherabeta, this is where we were talking about having that connection, which makes really wonderful sense once this is built, wherever it ends up being, because it allows for connection to all of this. And then when we were talking about the developable area in this vicinity, the county's placement is more like
In there, in that little
right here, right now. So you can see whether it's here or it's here, you still have the same amount of square footage to develop. It's just a matter of how do you access it. The nice thing about this alignment is that you'll instantly have connectivity to those two areas, which is very convenient. You even have it to this area here. So if you don't want to burden the loop road and the current entries with any type of additional facilities that may increase your enrollment or your staff and faculty, this can be utilized here to access any new facilities that you may have planned in the future.
According to any kind of traffic studies, I'm assuming that the higher percentage of folks are coming in through Richards rather than Avenida del Sur. Is that correct?
Oh, yes.
Yes, definitely.
But as Avenida is improved, they'll be able to come in.
Yeah, and it basically creates a really nice, because this is Avenida, the intersection of Richards and Avenida del Sur right here,
Right.
and this right-of-way already exists. So this connection here, so you're going to create this really fantastic loop coming down St. Francis Rabbit Road, all the way down to here, and then you could literally get out to Highway 14. So it's from a circulation standpoint, it works really well in terms of connectivity.
Good.
Yeah, for sure. So I think in general, again, I think there's been some give and take. Rancho Viejo is willing to make some fairly significant modifications to their planned project here. Can't say that Oshara's budged a whole lot, but that's okay. But our biggest concern about some of the previous proposals from the county were less about what's happening up here, as long as the ropes course was honored, and it was more about what was happening down here, and they have really addressed that.
Yeah, I think this is a huge benefit because it gives you you have access to all of your acreage, which is key. Whether you
Getting
use it or
access to
not
this, so you're not crossing the arroyo,
is key. And I do think just overall as community-wide improvement, it benefits everybody to have Avenida del Sur extended as far east as possible. Because as we know, roadway improvements, they take time and they cost a lot of money and a lot of effort. And so if we can build as much as possible, or if the county can build as much as possible, as quickly as possible, that's to everybody's benefit.
So this will be a 2-lane road with what shoulders? 20 feet shoulders?
I don't know if the section, they're still working on what the section's going to be. It's going to be kind of a rural section, but I think part of that's going to come down to budget in terms of are they going to keep it a little simpler now and then improve it with additional, trail amenities or bike lane amenities, over time, or are they going to do something pretty robust in terms of maybe even a split lane with a median and bike lanes and trails and there's sort of a list of how improved, but it'll be two traffic lanes.
I mean, the right-of-way can accommodate 2 lanes in each direction, and the appropriate trail and bike lanes and everything, so that the right-of-way is there, so in the future, as the need is there, the county can go ahead and improve it further. The problem with Richards Avenue is that in areas there isn't enough right-of-way to provide for those 2 lanes in each direction. And so that's always created a problem, as well as the bottleneck here at the overpass. So, this provides basically, proper long-term planning for the connectivity of the community college district, which is key.
Is there any plan for any infrastructure or any for utility infrastructure?
I'm not. We haven't been privy to what the improvements include. I would assume that all infrastructure will be. And it wouldn't be underneath the actual paved section. It would be in the right of way. So, but I don't know if Chuck or
that's
Paul
probably
can address that.
It may not be in the budget right now, but is that something
right now we're just looking at the location, and right now we're just looking at a roadway. But I know that there is a water line that's on Richards, and as part of that project they may look at extending it, but right now this project is really just a roadway.
I mean, there will be appropriate lighting with this roadway at intersections and roundabouts, so they're going to have to provide electrical improvements.
As Jennifer said, the funding is really limited. We just want to get a road in there.
Right.
But the right of way will accommodate future utility extensions.
Whatever is needed.
And that's why we're asking for the 120. So should we somewhere down the line they want to add more lanes? It's already there.
In the county, you have it stopping at Avenida del Sur. Is there any plans at all for it to continue going straight and just
When we had the original meeting, Windmill Ridge was very adamant about not extending it. So at this point, our study is going to end at Avenida del Sur.
Okay. That's right.
Is the road going to go under the power lines, or where's the road going to go? Is that the right of way under the power lines?
It's right here. So the power lines go.
No, the power lines are here.
Right there.
My bearings.
Yes.
Here they are. Power lines are right here.
So it's not going to be underneath them. It's going to be west of
It's going
them.
to be the west of the power lines.
Mhm.
Okay.
So the power lines are here, where my pen is. And then
the
this
power
is.
lines were an option that we looked at as an alignment, but when we ranked them, it didn't pan out as favorable as this one.
So the road's going to go then, O'Shara is going to be to the west of the road, the village?
Yes.
The road will go between O'Shara and the power lines,
Yes.
right to Avenida del Sur.
Yes.
Yeah, so here's the power lines, here's the proposed road alignment,
Right.
Okay.
and then this is existing O'Shara.
And where's the road going to come into the college?
It's going to just
College where? College High School?
College Drive. Yeah. It'll come into college.
Right here, this is College Drive. And so it'll be coming in right here, down to Avenida del Sur.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, a question just to clarify about our neighbors at O'Shara. So are they willing to live with this? Do they oppose this? Are they in
like
support
this.
of this?
They like this. They
Okay.
like this.
Okay.
We have been trying to kind of push them east a little bit, and we are still going to, because again we need some additional buffer for this proposed project here. So this is going to probably get maybe a couple 100 feet a little further east, which is even better, I think, to some degrees for the college. But they have agreed to this. Essentially, Rancho Viejo has agreed to this. So now we're here seeing what the college's feelings are.
Where's that road going to connect in with Rabbit Road? With what point?
So this is Rabbit Road right here.
Right.
So there would be a further extension,
Basically a new frontage
East-west.
road.
Right.
extension of Rabbit Road, and it would tie in right here. So there'd be some type of
Before
intersection,
Richards.
whether it's
Before
around
Richards.
Well before Richards, well before.
And is that extension, the northeast extension, is that going to punch through to Richards?
Yes.
That's eventually going to come this way.
Is that going to go first, or is the road going to go first?
Probably around the same time is the
I don't-
anticipation.
Yeah, initially again, if the funding allows for both portions of the construction to happen simultaneously, that's what we'll do.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the frontage road portion is going to be funded by NMDOT. So that basically leaves us with a little more construction funding for the southeast connector. So while it goes through the design process, there'll be different stages as to the selected engineering firm will provide us their best engineer's estimate as to what the road's going to be costing through the design process. So at that point, it'll give us a good idea as to whether or not we do or do not have enough funding, and whether or not we basically need to phase the project.
Okay, I'm Ken Bell in Rancho Viejo. I'm a student at the college. I just signed up. So the New Mexico Department of Transportation is going to fund the Northeast Connector?
A portion of the Northeast
A portion
Connector.
of it?
Yes, sir.
And then who's going to fund the road coming down?
County.
The county. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Senor.
it was my understanding, because it's an extension of the frontage road, that the Department of Transportation would get federal funding for that extension.
Not full though.
Is that correct?
I'm kidding.
Because it's an extension of the frontage road, that the Department of Transportation would get federal funding for that portion?
That is correct. That is correct.
Yeah. And do we have a completion date? Did I miss that or?
16.
It's 2016, 2017, right around it.
Thank you.
Any further questions or anything?
I guess just one more thing for further clarification on the funding. When I said that the county will be funding this portion of the project along with the Northeast Connector, we still don't have the total amount of funding secured. So we really don't know, how far the Southeast Connector we can actually build. So if we're able to phase it, we would. There's two different phases. One up to College Heights would probably be phase 1, and then phase 2 would be from College Heights down to Avenida del Sur.
You have funding for the Northeast Connector?
Yes.
Okay.
So does the college have any financial obligation with this?
No, so what we would, Mr. Chair and members of the board, what we would ask for today is consideration of approving this alignment. And then we would have to come back in the future to talk about the right-of-way through our campus and what we would do in terms of either selling it, donating it, what we might contribute to that. The college does not have any financial commitment to actually building the road. Is that correct?
As far as I know.
Or we don't have any, we won't have any need to add any roads at this moment?
No, there's no need.
Once that has been.
And on phase 1, you'll at least go to College Drive, so that's what we want.
Yeah,
we want that.
Yeah, we have to have a good, reliable location as to where to terminate the road.
So what's your cost per mile to build this kind of road?
We don't know yet.
You talked about problems with building bridges and stuff. There's no bridges in this?
Yeah, there are bridges, but again, it was part of the give and take. So they are.
There will be one here
And then one down here.
and then one here. So there'll be 2 arroyo crossings with this alignment on the college's property,
Okay,
or adjacent, on and adjacent to, yes.
thank you.
When this is finished and you have the Avenida del Sur connected to the road, are you going to put a traffic circle down here on Richards and Avenida, or how are you going to handle that traffic?
We haven't decided, but in our study, we use traffic circles
Yeah.
to analyze the intersections. So that is an option. But right
Which is
now, we're only doing the location study, so we're not that far. That would be part of the design.
Okay.
Anything else,
Mr. Chair,
ma'am?
I move approval of the presented alignment.
Second.
Second. Okay, all those in favor of approving the proposed alignment?
Aye.
Kathy, you're not there anymore. All right. Anyone opposed? All right. So the motion passes, and you know that your work is really good, and so thank you. You know, it's really thorough, and we really appreciate it because you've kept the college you've got the college in your consciousness of what should be done, and it's a good thing for students, that it's not winding around,
Yeah,
not
sure.
crazy. It's good. So thank you.
Thank you.
Chair Baker.
Thank you. Thank you for all your input.
And we can leave. I have several copies of this map, and I'm going to leave them back here.
Would you like that?
You guys can,
Yeah.
can have that.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right, so we'll continue. We have an information item, tab B, results of the 2013 Noel Levitz Employee Satisfaction Survey. Will be you and Yash. Okay.
So I'm going to kick this off, and then Yash is going to step everybody through it. As most of you know, we've participated in the Noel Levitz Employee Satisfaction Survey for a number of years. We did not do it in 2012. It was administered in October of this year. We had a larger number of participants, respondents to participate in the survey this year than we have in previous years. What you have in your data here is you've got the results from 2010, 2011, and 2013.
Can you explain what it is? What is a climate study?
I'll let Yasser explain that a little bit
Okay,
better.
all right.
But what you have here is you have the results from 2010, 11, and 13. We don't have comparisons between those years, but we do have the comparisons for 2013 of Santa Fe Community College to our peer institutions, which are other community colleges. And so, Yash, I'll let you take it over and talk a little bit about what a climate survey is, and then.
Sure. So a climate survey is usually conducted annually or biannually to really discern what does the employees really feel. Are they happy? Are they satisfied? Are they dissatisfied? What are the top issues? And so Noel Levitz is a pretty good survey, which asks about 51 questions on different subject items, from how do you feel about sharing information, to do you feel proud to come to work, do you really enjoy your work. So, and we also ask questions we ask questions as well as in terms of level of importance as well as level of satisfaction. So that also gives us sort of an understanding of where is the potential gap between those two items. We also ask questions, open-ended questions, to give us additional feedback. So it's not just a quantitative study, it's a quantitative and qualitative study. So we have a pretty good data sets, and I'm happy to really provide this information to the college for the Santa Fe. Does that sort of answer your question? Okay, so the results of the SFCC 2013 Noel Levitz College Employee Satisfaction Survey really demonstrates as Randy said, a notably lower rate of satisfaction in most areas. And its overall satisfaction rate has gone down. And the results are, it's lower than its comparison group, and it's statistically significant for the first time since we started doing comparisons with the benchmark.
And would you just explain the comparison mean, which is national, correct?
Yes, it is. It is from all the different various community colleges across the nation. In the comparison groups, there's around 11,000 responses, so it's comparing against that. The breakout, I've checked the breakout of our full-time, part-time, faculty, staff, and administrators, and that's pretty comparable to our breakdowns. We make sure that that's sort of we're comparing apples to apples.
Okay, thank you.
So this is really the first year in which our scores have gone down, and it's a really statistically significant difference at a 0.001 level. That basically means we're 99.9% sure that the difference between the two scores did not happen by chance. That's a real difference.
How many people actually responded and took this survey?
Right. I'm glad you asked that. Approximately, actually 344 of 344 employees responded to the survey, and we had we actually had exactly 862 employees. So that brings it to about 40% response rate. In the past, we had much lower response rate, around 208. 200 was always hovering around that number. So this year is another noticeable changes in terms of how much people actually went out and responded to the survey. And it's a pretty long survey, so it takes about 25 to 30 minutes to complete the survey, not counting amount of all the other open-ended comments people have made. So, in 2013, so to speak, from the spreadsheet with, well, let me first go into what does the legend of what are those different items mean of this particular spreadsheet. So you also say the screen. If it's green, then it's higher than the comparison group. If it's pink, then it's lower than the comparison group. And the number of stars really indicate the level of significance between those two items.
And you can't get any higher than 3 stars?
Well, at 99.9%.
99.9%.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, yes. One thing I do want to point out is this is not a comparison from year to year, as President Randy has mentioned. It's just a comparison within that particular group, within a particular year, against the comparison. But still, you can sort of see already, we're still waiting for the response from NOLA. We requested that NOLA conducted a statistical analysis to see what's the change between 2011 and 2013. We just haven't received it. So in 2013, we had 86% of these individual 51 items in which we scored lower than our comparison groups.
What percent?
86%. 86%. So that is, yes. Whereas in 2011, we scored 24% lower. So that's a pretty significant changes that we made here.
Josh, can I ask a quick question about who are the other community colleges who are surveyed? So is the 1,100 number you gave us the number of schools or the number of 11,000? Okay.
Number of survey respondents.
Okay, respondents across the country at colleges. And how many colleges does that represent?
I don't remember for certain, but it was around 30 to 40 as I recall.
Okay.
It might be a little larger. I'll get back to you on that. I'll ask the NOLA again. I'll report back to that about that one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm curious about something. When the people here at the community college took this survey, were they allowed the time by their supervisors to do that? Was it only, did you know whether they were, at what level were these people who were responding? You know, was it just staff, was it just faculty, or the majority were faculty, the majority were, you know, and were they given the time to do this?
Employees had the option of taking it at work or at home or anytime really, because it was an online survey. They didn't have to take it at work, but I would imagine that all employees were given ample opportunities. We kept the survey open for 2 weeks. And that the distribution of the survey respondents, the faculty members, there was 41% of the response was from the faculty member, of which half was part-time, half was full-time. Around 50% of response was from staff, and then 10% were response from administrators. Now, it's important to keep in mind that these were self-identified information, so if somebody who were staff claimed to be a faculty, then they counted in the faculty pool, vice versa. We made it, we made sure the survey is pretty anonymous, and so we really left it up to the individual employees. Another difference compared to previous years, we ensured that the survey response is going to be people going to fill out the survey once. In the past, survey was open up to the pretty large population, and people, if they choose to do so, could take more than once. So we made sure that that's not going to be happening this year.
Is this going to continue every year after that?
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, the original plan was we were going to do this every other year rather than every year because we kind of get surveyed out.
Right.
So that, unless something comes up differently, that is our current plan. We do have other types of surveys that are part of our strategic plan that we will be doing in other years.
So 2015 is the next levels. Okay, cool. Thank you.
So what can we draw, what conclusions can we draw from this?
That the employees are more dissatisfied than our comparison groups and more items. So there was definitely things that we should look at these questions and see what needs to be improved and what kind of action should take place. The other spreadsheet speaks into breakdown of people's responses by faculty, administrators, and staff, but that might be a difference in our case. And in there, you can sort of see how people responded based on different segments. So you can see that the faculty members have the lowest mean, the lowest level of satisfaction compared to staff or administrators. And right below that, you can sort of see what the responses, how people scored, and what the data looks like. This in particular is not the entire data set because it was a pretty extensive data set and I didn't want to put too much information in, way too much information in. But what I did here was I took a list of questions where there was a low satisfaction rating and a high importance rating, and there's a large gap between the two. You know, if people say this is something really important, I'm really unsatisfied, then I put it in here because it's important information for the college.
Sure.
Right. This might be of interest. One good thing, though, is that everybody, whether you are faculty, staff, or administrators, seem to be having consistently the same goal for that institution, which are retain more of its current students for after graduation, improve the quality of its existing academic programs, and improve employee morale.
And not only was that agreement amongst the three categories of faculty, staff, and students, but it's been consistent for 3 years. So we're at least all on the same page.
Another important item is that all these scores are actually then feeded into our strategic plan's key performance indicators. So there's going to be strategies developed to actually try to address some of these main concerns.
And we'll see those in the form of actions, steps?
Yes.
With the
Yes, in the strategic planning. Yes. Right now, different groups of people have been given different tasks about how they're going to, what kind of strategies they're going to use to actually try to move these different items forward.
And then there are also like 37 pages of comments.
Yes.
About.
So, in addition to the quantitative, 1 to 5, 5 being the biggest, 1 being the smallest kind of survey, the survey also asks questions about what other institutional goals do you think are important? Please tell us other information. So there's 4 different sets of questions that's asked of employees. Not everybody fill out the information, but this also should give us even more detailed qualitative information, which is very useful to have regarding what people are thinking and what people are saying.
And Josh, if you had a chance to categorize kind of what the comments were, where most of them, what the issues were in the comments. So if you could correlate the comments and say we put it into 6 different categories of the major concerns.
You can do that in the future. Right now, because we didn't receive all the responses from the letters yet, we haven't gone through that extra steps.
Okay.
But we'll do that and present that at the later board hearing.
So we don't have all of the.
No, we do.
Oh, we do have all.
But we don't
we
have
haven't any analysis.
analysis of what our scores look like compared to 2011. So we asked you to do an ANOVA, basically a statistical study to see if there's an increase, decrease, what's the changes.
Mr. Chair and members of the board, I want to make one comment and want to remind everybody that we cannot link names to these comments.
Right.
They're done on the computer, and so everybody's anonymous is there. I know some of us will probably recognize and think we know who may have written this comment, but we don't know for sure. So this is anonymous, but this is straight out of what they wrote into the system as a comment.
Right, even misspellings, we haven't really touched it. The only exception is when people filled out the paper Spanish surveys. In some cases, the staff at no levels use Google Translate of some form to just put it in there. It's a little weird, you can't tell which one those might be, but yes. To answer your question, on page 3 of the summary, then we also do talk about what are the 10 largest gaps we found for the entire staff members, and we categorize from those particular items. It's really communication, working together, resources. That would be sort of the main categories that comes up.
Where is that? Which page is
Page
that?
3 on the summary.
Of the summary.
Inside.
This summary, the big summary? This summary.
This big sheet.
Oh, the big one.
No, not the big
Not the
one.
big one. Not the thick one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
You got it. One step, you got that.
Yeah.
Page 3 of that.
Okay. Oh, I see. Great.
So these 10 are where people perceive the greatest level a gap between what they desire and what was actually happening.
Well, how satisfied they
How
are.
satisfied they are.
Finally, if I may point out, there's also a survey item on the last page.
This is the staple
The
together.
statement pink and green summary. The respondents were also asked the level of involvement in planning decision making at the college. And in this case, if it's too high, it's bad. If it's too low, it's bad. Closer to 3.0 is just right, it's perfect. And so you can see that consistently, staff and faculty members' involvement are lower throughout, whether they're statistically significant or not. And also the senior administrators are perceived to have a higher score than anywhere else. And the board members, there's a question about how involved are the trustees. I think the board members are not basically as close as you can get, 3.03. So even though statistically it's lower than the comparison group, this is actually a good thing.
Yes. Right here. How about versus 303 as opposed to 322 for the comparison group, the national comparison? We have to keep reminding ourselves that these are national
Yes.
comparisons,
National
but
comparison.
national comparison mean.
So, Yash, just so I clarify, when I read down 2013 in our survey process, what I'm reading is compared to the nation, we are lower than every other school in the country.
I wouldn't say every other school. I'll say we're lower than the
Average, right.
the mean
Okay.
of the comparison.
On an average, we're lower than,
Yes, our average is lower than their average, and that's a real difference.
Yes.
And that's not been the case in past years.
Not in 2011, which is the most recent year we have.
and in no area were we higher.
Yes, actually, that's another important point. I'm glad you pointed that out. If you look at the second page, in the past, there were 3 areas that we were actually consistently higher than our comparison. That is the reputation that the employee, not the employees feel, the reputation of the institution continues to improve. The institution does a good job of meeting the needs of administrators, and the institution is well respected in the community. And for the first time, that has gone down as well.
Can I ask Chairman Abeta another follow-up question? So, what was the time frame in which? So, employees haven't taken this since. When did they take it last, and what was the time frame in which they responded to the survey this year?
I understand. In 2011, fall of 2011, I believe it was around October, was the last time before 2013 they took the survey.
Okay.
It was sent out to all staff, all faculty email listings.
Okay.
And then around 208, there was 208 respondees of those. During the fall 2013, we sent out a individual email list by no levels, not by us. Everything here was done by no levels and not by us. And the employees were given 2 weeks to respond via online. For those people who didn't have ready access to computers, we gave them an option to take the survey by paper. And we also translated it into Spanish for those people who feel more comfortable taking the survey in Spanish rather than English. And we requested specifically of POM and food services areas to release the staff members to come and take the survey. Because we knew those areas that historically has been
Under.
it's hard because they don't have computers right in front of them and how to work it.
So, what was the time frame in the fall? When was that 2-week period?
It was near the end of October.
Okay.
And
Again,
actually, it was a little bit more than 2 weeks. It was like 15 days.
Okay.
It was all in October.
Yes.
Okay.
And the staff members were, the employees were sent regular updates, reminders to take the survey if they haven't taken it already. Yes.
Do you have results before 2011?
Yes, there's a 2010 results here. 2010 is the first year in which we started benchmarking ourselves against our comparison group. Our data goes back to actually 2006, but at that point we really weren't really, from 2006 to 2009, we weren't comparing our results against anybody else.
But you do have the results that would be.
Yes,
Yes.
we do. But, you know, one of the issues is, question is that, say 4.4, is that high, is that low? We really don't know unless you actually have a benchmark. So that's one of the good things about having benchmarks.
But, Mr. Chair, members of the board, at that point in time, we were just comparing ourselves from year to year. So we were going to see if we had improved from one year to the next without comparing ourselves to a peer group.
Yeah. Well, you know, having worked here myself, you know, and seeing some of the surveys and stuff, what I don't want is, I don't want it to be a type of thing that we say, well, it was just bad this year. You know, there's been times that it's been bad since back then. You know, and I think that's important. That's important to bring out and not to push for a type of thing saying, oh, well, things are bad now and they've never been this way before. But to me, that's not valid. Anyway.
And Mr. Chair, you know, I agree with you, and I don't know what it looks like before this. I would be interested in knowing if that's at all, you know, possible to do with our data, kind of what it looks like over the long term. Yash is smiling because it's yet another task for him of what it looks like. But it does bring concern to me that we're not getting better in this area.
But you said Noel Levitz is doing some analysis of previous data.
For 2013 to 2011, we requested it.
2013 to 2011,
Not
so that's
10 or
2
any
years.
time before.
No, just against the previous, the most previous years. The question for anything going back beyond 2010, I really need to look at the quality of the data before I could say if it's actually a valid response or not. Also, it becomes, without the raw data, we need to really see if we can do a really good statistical analysis, whether it's a no-value or probably a no-value of some kind.
Could Noel Levitz do to Chris's point, could Noel Levitz do the comparison of 10, 11, and 13?
Yes.
So that would at least give us 3 years or 6 years of.
Yeah, it would be a different kind of, a combination of 2013, 10, 11.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, we could do that. And I'll find out to what level of data do they actually still retain within their systems.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's possible. I'll communicate with that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I think in the recent history and remembering prior year Noel Levitz, we've never had this much difference, and this kind of statistically significant change from the prior Noel Levitz survey.
Yes, and in part that's because 2010 is the first year we started the benchmark.
Is the benchmark. And you see that's.
But there were benchmarks to our own prior years, weren't there?
But I'm not sure. I need to look whether there was any statistical analysis conducted.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I would like to point out, if you look at this spreadsheet and you see down here, there were some areas where we didn't do well. We were lower in both 10, 11, and 12, and it was significant in those areas. And those have been areas that we've been focusing on, and they're still challenges for us. You know, giving people opportunities for advancement was really hard during the recession, and still does it in there. So, there have been areas where we have been better, but there have been areas where we've been significantly worse than our peer group in the past, and there just are more of them now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that it? Thank you. Thanks, Anne. Oh, you say President Randy. All right. There was not any more questions. We're going to be going into closed session for the purpose of discussing pending or threatened litigation and limited personnel matters. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. So we'll be moving. All those in favor going into closed session. All right. Thank you for attending and sorry we couldn't correct all the spelling errors.
That's
and,
okay.
You know, just, as an English teacher,
We gotta keep our English teachers in business.
yeah.